Good morning, Brantavian. Good morning, Easton.
Good morning.
Good morning, Torin.
Good morning.
Good morning, Peyton. How's everybody doing? Good morning, Mario. Well, I think I slept in the same position all night because I have such a huge crick in my neck. I think I just fell asleep and that was where I stayed. Didn't help that I woke up with my cat on top of my head. So last night for our Christmas movie, we watched Home Alone. And it is just as good as I remember it being. Have you guys ever seen Home Alone? Yeah, it's on Disney Plus. I think the first 3 are on Disney Plus. Apparently there's more of them, but I've only ever seen the first 2, I think. You seen all of them? There's a video on YouTube. I think it's like a big film YouTube channel where they got a medical doctor to come on and tell them how severe the injuries would be if this had really happened to real people. It's pretty funny. Tonight we're watching Shrek the Halls, which I have never seen. But it's on Netflix. I'm going to go ahead and post the Nearpod. Oh, that's not the Nearpod. That's a YouTube link. Link, copy. Here you go. So you can go ahead and get into the Nearpod. We're going to talk about some more designers today. And then next week, we're going to watch The King and I, which I think you guys will probably like if you've never seen it before. Good morning, Alejandro. And who just came in with Alejandro? Oh, it was Zion. So for the movie days, if you guys can please try to make sure that you are logged in on time, I would appreciate it, because in order to watch the movie, we're going to have to pretty much start right on time. So if you come in late, you're going to miss a few minutes of the beginning of each class, just so you know. And then we're going to have some extra credit. Your exit ticket each day will be basically like extra credit. Like it'll be an exit ticket, but it'll also be extra credit. So if it's like 4 questions, you'll get the exit ticket like credit, and then you will also get a point of extra credit for each question you get right. And it'll be like stuff that you'll get right as long as you're paying attention to the movie. Like I'm not going to make it super tricky or anything. So we'll wait 1 more minute or so, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about costume design and set design. There's the Nearpod for those of you who came in after the first like 8 people, I think. The Game Awards are tonight, so if you guys like video games, I'm excited because they're supposed to be giving a preview of the next Dragon Age game sometime tonight during the Game Awards. So I'm going to have that on, probably on my iPad, while we're watching Christmas movies, in case it happens during that like 30 minutes of Shrek the Halls. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So if you can please join the Nearpod. If you're having trouble with the Nearpod, let me know. So it looks like I still need Bennett in the Nearpod, Brantavian. I don't see you yet. You could have already be logging in. Easton, I see. Let's see. Peyton, I see. It's updating now. I don't see Torin yet. Got Zion. Oh, we've just got 3 more people. Ray and Amaris. And Ray. And Yulissa. All right, here's the Nearpod for y'all who just joined. As I was saying, we start watching the movie next week. If you come in late, you're probably going to miss the first little bit of the movie. So I just want you to be aware of that, because I'm going to try to start it as close to on time as I can. So just so you know. All right, so today we're going to talk about costume and set design. So again, like there's 4 sort of main design components in the theater. We covered the first 2 on Tuesday, and now we're covering the second 2. So we'll start with costume design, right? Then we will look at set design. We'll sort of practice by looking at costumes and sets and designs. And then, of course, we will have our regular old exit ticket friend. Any questions about anything before we get started? Yes, no, maybe so. Or is everybody good? Everybody's Gucci? Okay, so who would like to read this first slide for us?
I'll go.
Okay, great.
History of costume design. Originally, costumes were ceremonial. Ancient Greek platform sandals helped lead characters stand out from the chorus. By the Renaissance, patrons patrons
Yep.
would donate clothes to their acting troops, and they began to try to indicate when the play was taking place with the clothes. With the rise of realism in the theater came the need for historical accuracy.
Good. Thank you. All right. Yeah. So remember, we talked about before, right? Ancient Greece, it started as religion, right? It was connected to their religion. And the same thing, of course, happens again in medieval theater. So at first, the costumes were just sort of ceremonial robes that they added masks to, and then they sort of began to get more specific. But one of the first things that they did in ancient Greek theater was they figured out that they had to come up with a way to make remember at first we had one main actor and then we had two and then we end up with three, right? They had to make a way for them to stand out from the chorus. And so what they came up with was to literally make them taller than the chorus members by having them wear platform sandals. So that was sort of the first real like costume piece in the theater, were the shoes that the lead actors would wear so that they would actually be taller than the chorus members. Okay. Does that make sense? Yes? Anybody there? Okay. Yeah, they would wear platform shoes, right? So let me images. Oh, it's just showing me like actual platform shoes. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen really quick. So here is an example of what they might have looked like. This is from Asian drama. This is from, you can't really see it, but it's a statue, right? So that would make them physically taller than the other people on stage so that the people in the audience would be able to distinguish them from far away by how tall they were, right? Okay, good. Then when we get to the Renaissance, remember we have patrons, right, who are basically providing money and protection and clothes, right? And so they started to play around with trying to indicate when or where the play was taking place, but it still wasn't like accurate. They were still all wearing like really, really gorgeous costumes. So it's not really until we get to realism, right? So like we're talking like 1850s, that we have people who are actually trying to portray the characters in a historically accurate way. Okay. So I want you to answer this in the Nearpod. So what do clothes tell us about the person wearing them? So when you see somebody, what do you sort of like assume about them? A reflection of social status. Yes, good. How much money they have. Okay, great. Their social class and where they're from. Good. What else? We're missing sometimes how they act. Okay. All right. I can see that. Yeah. Our identity, like culture or characteristics. Okay. Good. Where they're from or how they act. All right. Their personality, their wealthiness, good or evil, what rank of class they are, if they're more determined or serious. Okay. What about jobs? Can you tell somebody's job from their clothes? Yeah, sometimes, right? You know, uniforms indicate what someone's job is, like a judge's robes, a firefighter's uniform. The reason why they have, like, you know, everybody who works at Target wear a red shirt, right? Or Best Buy, they have their blue polos, right? Okay. So, just like we identify people and their you know, their job or their social status or how much money they have, all of that in real life by what they're wearing, we can use that and we do use that for the stage. Okay? All right. All right, who would like to read this slide for us, please? Vincent, why don't you read it?
Costumes help with setting the tone and style, indicating time and place, identifying status and personality, indicating relationships among characters, meeting performers' needs.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so setting the tone and style, which we already sort of talked about with, you know, what we can see with, you know, just even regular fashion, right? What about time and place? How can we use costumes to indicate time and place? What do you think? So, okay, tights and coats, robes, trousers. Okay, good. How about, I'm going to share my screen. When and where do you think this play might be taking place? Okay, so Mario says it's during the winter and it's contemporary, right? How do you know that? You guys agree with Mario? And how do you know? The clothing style, okay. What they're wearing. They're wearing denim, okay. Anything else? It's a pretty good indication, right? Okay. He's holding snow. That helps, right? Okay. All right, good. So weather is a big part of it too, right? Climate. All right, good. Indicating relationships among characters. How can we indicate relationships among characters with the clothing? Matching clothes. Yes, Mario. Yeah. So we might have, this is often done with Romeo and Juliet, where they'll have the Montagues be mostly one color and the Capulets be mostly another, like wear mostly another color, or West Side Story, or, you know, things of that nature, where, yeah, we're sort of indicating familial ties by having them wear a certain thing. Okay. All right. Good. Excellent. Good job, guys. Okay, so I'm gonna have you watch this little video. It's only about it's like 5.5 minutes long, and then we will talk about it when we are finished. So go ahead and watch this. Let me know when you're done. Okay, so some of you are done. I know some of you had some trouble with it loading at first. What did you think about this? Did you expect that that's how it's done? Like, especially for a show like Wicked that has run for so long and they keep putting new people into the show. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep, they make whole new costumes for sure. Yeah, I mean, the detail is incredible, especially on Broadway, right? And I like how you see the workroom where you have all of these people in that workroom and they're working on, everybody in there is working on a different show, right? Or a different costume. Okay, good. We're going to go ahead and go to the next slide. So we're going to skip that. Okay. So this is just a quick sort of, they don't get confused because they have all of the plans, right? Like it's basically like they have a big guide, right? She shows her Bible, right, that they're following every time, right? So what the costume designer has to do, of course, is choose things like fabric, right? Make sketches. Everything is included, right? Even wigs and makeup are included. Aging and dirtying fabrics, which we didn't really see in there, but we did see. If you, I don't know, you guys didn't watch the Annie documentary. Where if you're doing a show that, no, you don't have to apologize for asking questions. If they mess up a part in designing, you mean like before they like make the garment, or yeah, like they might design something that the director doesn't like. If you mess up like on a cut or you make something too small, you've got to fix it for sure. So sometimes it depends on how complicated the fix is if you have to go back and just start all over. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, good. So let's talk about set design. So who would like to read this slide for us? Let me get you the Nearpod, Navi. Here you go. How about Peyton? Why don't you read this for us?
History of set design. Originally simply a physical space for performance, no sets. The beginning of a scene design. Medieval theater mansions for each story, from the Bible development of the
Proscenium
stage.
Yes. Okay, good. So, right, originally it was just sort of like a place that we had dedicated for performance, but there wasn't really anything, no set that anybody interacted with. So it doesn't really get started until medieval theater, when we actually need to have those mansions that we are acting for each like story from the Bible to distinguish them. And then finally, of course, we get to the proscenium stage, which is still sort of the stage that we operate from today. We're going to skip this because it's a long video. So go ahead. So let's look at set design, the box set. Okay. So this is a picture of a box set. which came about with realism when they wanted to make the set look like it could be a real home that people lived in, right? So the whole play usually then takes place in one particular room, right? Because you wouldn't be able to switch out scenery for each scene, right? So what do you notice about this picture? Like, what do you think about the people who live here? Looks cramped? Yeah, okay. They're old. Okay, all right. So what makes you think that they're old? The wallpaper? Okay, so it's old fashioned, so it might be taking place you know, in a time before, right? The furniture. I'm going to show you another one. So I'm going to share my screen, okay? So this is sort of a modern take on a box set. What about this set? Let me zoom out just the tiniest bit. What do you think about the person who lives here? All right, there we go. So we're making some assumptions based on he doesn't have a lot of money, right? Okay, so you're sort of getting the idea, right? Let's find another one. It is a box set, but it's sort of a. This is not a box set, but it's cool. What about this one? They're rich. They're wealthy. It looks like a mansion. What kind of room do you think this is? It could be royalty. Okay. Do you think this is a room where like it's a ballroom? Yeah, it doesn't look like a room where people, you know, hang out all the time, right? This isn't like their living room. This isn't a dining room, right? But it gives you the impression that this is part of a really big house, right? So we can use just the little bit that we see to sort of imply how big the rest of this house really is, right? Here's an example of one. And this is a box set that's in a sort of a black box space. Oh, yeah, Mario. Could be at some sort of castle. All right. What about this place? Okay. So they've got some possessions for sure, right? You can see, I don't know if you guys can tell, there's a refrigerator and a sink over here and like a little stove thing. And then we've got 3 chairs at a table. Yeah. So it's kind of like a kitchen, dining room, living room combination, but we do have lots of books, right? The only thing that bothers me about this is I don't know why this rug is down here with nothing on it. Like nobody, who does that? Looks like a library room and a kitchen. Okay, all right. So you guys are sort of getting the idea, right? That each box set can sort of help indicate, like, do you think this is part of a much bigger house or is it part of like a smaller place? Smaller, right? We don't see any bed here, so there's got to be a bedroom somewhere. And then the other door might go to the outside, maybe, right? Okay, so you guys are getting the idea. Good, excellent. Oh, I hate every time I do that. It shows my face. All right, back to the Nearpod. It will load. All right, go ahead, and who would like to read this slide for me? Who haven't I picked on yet today? Ray, why don't you read it? Is she still here? Or did she get lost? No. Ray, you there? Maybe she stepped away. Oh, your mic isn't working? Okay. Bennett, why don't you read it?
Everything we encounter in real life can be part of a scenic design. Architecture of a room, the furniture, the color, the fabrics, details. How does this translate to a stage environment?
Yes. So you have to look at the script and see what the script specifically says it has to have. All right. So how does that translate to a stage environment? You read the script and it calls for, something like a ballroom. What kind of decisions do you have to make about the space then? Let me open that picture back up. Where did it go? If they're wealthy, okay. Yeah, like, is it a ballroom that is like still really nice, or is it, in like disrepair, right? Here, I'll show this screen again so you can take a look at it. So we're going to do this play, A Ghost in Our House. So what decisions did this scene designer make? Architecture, furniture, color. Okay, so, okay, but the script tells us that it's wealthy, right? So how do they make it look like it's wealthy? Does that make sense? What did they put on the set to make it look like, so that when we see it, we know that this is a wealthy family? Archways, okay, stairs, all right. The armor stand, okay, the floor, to make the floor look sort of like some sort of marble, or it has some sort of like texture. A big grand space, right? Space like this indicates that, you have money. The way that the chairs are, okay. All right, yeah, you're getting the idea now, right? So you take that and it's like, okay, this is a big, beautiful ballroom, right? And it's still really kept up. It's nice. how do I make the audience see that when they come into the theater? Good. Okay, so back to the Nearpod. So the set designer, like we just talked about, right? Oh, a fireplace, yeah. Creates the environment, but they also have to help set the mood and the style of the production, right? Distinguish realistic from non-realistic productions. So which one have we been mostly looking at? Have we been looking at realistic or non-realistic? These look like real places to you? Kinda. Okay, let me show you an example of something that could be non-realistic. Okay. It's a good one. Ugh, why is that so small when I? Okay, so here are some examples of non-realistic. I'm going to share my screen again. Okay, so here's an example of a non-realistic scene design. Where is this taking place? The set design doesn't really tell us, right? Yeah, something is going on here, right? But the set design doesn't really tell us like where is this happening, right? Let's see. Let me zoom in a little bit. What about this one? Right? Again, doesn't really give us like a concrete idea of where this is, okay? Whoa, that's fun. So do you see there's a big difference, right? So non-realistic is much more the audience has to use their imagination, whereas realistic is based in reality, where at least you can see, you can imagine, yeah, someone's imagination. Perfect, Ray. Yeah, exactly. Good. Okay. We just sort of did that all together, so I'm not too worried about that. Anybody have any questions, right? Realistic design, and you can have non-realistic costume design too, right? Especially for things that are fantasy, right? So let me go ahead and open the exit ticket for y'all and make sure that it is working. Okay, it should be open for you. So costume and set design, basically, to sort of summarize it, realistic costume and set design helps the audiences sort of pinpoint exactly when in time, like on Earth, we are. And non-realistic ones set the expectations so that we know that this isn't happening maybe in a real place, or maybe it doesn't occur on Earth, right? Or maybe it's we're trying to show that it's not, that it's imaginative, to take what Ray said, that it's in someone's imagination, right? larger than life. Good. Questions? Anybody want some more clarification? So the slides should be in Schoology, as is the exit ticket. So make sure that you are doing that before you leave. And then, like I said, the plan for next week will be that we are going to watch The King and I. And then you'll have some extra credit opportunities for that. All of your grades right now should be updated unless you have done some older exit tickets that I haven't had a chance to adjust your grade. But for the most part, they should be up to date. So if you know that you've recently done some exit tickets, just remember that I have to manually sort of fix those. Let me see. Okay. Yep. If you're still doing old or missing exit tickets, then you're, I have to, like I said, I have to manually go through and adjust those grades. So when I see that they come in, I will check them. And then the minimum, of course, is 50. So if for whatever reason, when you redo them, you get below a 50, then I will check what you got. And then I'll adjust it back up to a 50 for you so that you don't get lower than the minimum. I will go back to that slide. A couple of you are asking about the history of scene design. So I have just, nope, come on. There we go. I've set it to that one in the Nearpod. But if you are missing summatives, I would encourage you to work on those instead of exit tickets because they will be worth more in the long run. All right, Mario, then you are free to go. If you have completed your exit ticket, then you can go. Just make sure that you have completed it.
Thank you, Dr. Ashley. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye. See you
Bye-bye.
on Monday. Bye.
See you then.
Bye.
Yep, you can leave when you are finished with the exit ticket. And in fact, it is time for the end of class anyway. So if you Easton, I mean, I don't know how really to help you other than just giving you the answer at this point. Like it's pretty much like on slide 10. Okay, friends, I have to close those classrooms so that I can move on. So think about, Easton, what we talked about how they actually had to like build something, right? So that the people had, it was 2 stories. They were actually like interacting on both levels. I don't know if that helps.